Welcome back to Adobe Photoshop CC. In this tutorial we're going to continue working on this silhouette series, and I'm going to explore and share how to deal with type. So specifically type in Photoshop. So in the previous tutorial I created this silhouette, these different images here, not this building over here. I just decided to bring this in from this photo, which is from New Orleans. Here's the actual original image minus the I select it and then subtract the mask. That's the original image there. What I did is I basically went to the channels, duplicated the blue copy again, and then add levels adjustment, use the mask. I duplicated the layer, got rid of the mask, and basically command or control click on the thumbnail and then paint it all black here. I've shown this tutorial before on how to do that. So I just wanted to share real quick that I went through that same process just like in the silhouettes here. Now, dealing with text, the hotkey for text is T, and you would think of the first letter of the text. The text tool has some different options here. The bottom two are basically masking tools. You really don't have to use that. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous because you can already mask with type. So these are kind of silly. But you can type vertically, which most type you don't usually do. I'm not going to do it for this case. I'm going to type horizontally, so I'm going to choose the top, which is the standard. Up here in the top, you'll see the properties of type, and in here, the main one to think about besides the actual typeface is the color. So if you click in here, you can choose whatever color you want. So I have white as my color here, which I want because I want to click and add some type in here in the building. So as I click, you'll see a little cursor here, and now I can type in whatever I want. So I'm going to hit new, type in new, and then hit return and add Orleans. Now with this type select, I can click on the top move tool and I can move it around, so forth. If I want to access those properties again, there's a couple different ways. I could click on the type tool and hover over into the type and basically click, and I would have access to those tools. One way I usually do it though is I usually double click on the T, which is another way to access all those options up here. So the main thing is the typeface. You can click in here in the drop down menu and choose whatever typeface you want. That is definitely the main one. There's all kinds of choices to choose from. You can always go to Typekit if you have the CC library as access to, so I have it here. And so you can go to Typekit, which is Adobe based fonts that you can download and utilize. For those of you who don't have CC, you can also go to other free sites, and the one that's very popular is DaFont, but there's all kinds of sites for typography that you can download. And you know, if it says free for personal use, some of them have free for commercial use. But yeah, you can click through here, and then of course you can pay for your own typeface too. So if you are going to use it for commercial purposes, I find though that there's lots of types that are available on Typekit, and of course the ones that are in here. I'm just going to choose this maybe let's see, maybe Myrid Pro. And I'm going to click in here, and you can see there's other options. So right here we have for example bold condense we can do, or condensed. So you can kind of play around with the options that you like. Regular, I think I'm gonna leave it at. I can increase the size of the type here. Now by default it says up to 72. However, you can highlight this and type in whatever degree you want. So if I type in 150 and then hit return, it'll basically have that. So I can have New Orleans at 150 here. And again, double click on the T if you accidentally click out. Under here you have different options. So instead of sharp, I could choose smooth, and it just affects the styling of the type a little bit. You can left justify or center text or right align text, but really, if you're going to move it and place it in here, don't really have to worry too much about this, except with the center text, it'll center it along the center line. So actually it does make sense. If you want it right aligned and left aligned, it will align it that way if you're hitting return. If it's just one line of text, really you wouldn't need to choose any of these options here. Color is in here. Again, you can click in here, choose whatever color you want. I'm going to leave it with white. You have some warp ability with type. I'm not going to do it, but if you click in here, there's all these different warp abilities you can do. If you actually rasterize it or convert it to a shape, or actually create a smart object, you can do actually extra warping to it. And then there's some 3D new options, so you can create 3D type. If you like it, you can accept it. If you don't like it, you can cancel out. And of course, you can hit return to do that too, or click out with the move tool. And then the final one, which is really important, is the character settings here. So you have character and paragraph. Paragraph would be if we had a bunch of text. It primarily has to do with alignment with text. So character is very important. And again, you'll see here the typeface and some of the settings here by default. So the main ones I like to play around with, of course, is the tracking. Tracking is basically the spacing between the entire characters of your typeface. And there's lots of creative things you can do. As you can see, as I'm scrubbing to the right, it's basically increasing the spacing. If I scrub to the left, it's bringing them closer together where basically you can't read the type. So kind of want to spread it out a little bit. And I'm thinking maybe 260 might be kind of cool. You also have the ability to set kerning between a couple letters. So if you highlight just two letters, if for some reason you want these two letters to be a little tighter, you can adjust kerning. Specific typefaces have issues with that, so it's mainly for that. Down here you can set italic, bold, all caps, etc. Most of these are kind of your standard sort of type abilities to do in here, and that's pretty much all I wanted to cover. I'm going to go ahead and click out and click on the move tool. I kind of like this, so I'm going to place it however I want here, and I'm thinking this looks pretty good. Now I like the way the New Orleans says, but the E here is being kind of blocked by this sort of the white line of this image here, which so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to mask this. I'm going to click on the square circle here, zoom in, and I'm going to paint with my brush, which is way too big. Choose hard round, and then click out, and then just shrink down the brush size with left bracket keys a couple times. And it's gonna change the image quite a bit, but actually not so much. I mean, the bike here works pretty well. So I really could just get rid of this whole line, and I can do that by holding the shift key. So I'm going to click here. Of course, I'm going to hit Control Z, undo that. I can make sure I have the X key, so I have white as my foreground color selected. So I'm going to click here and then hold the shift key and click here. Or actually, no, wait, I'm going to hit the X key. Have black as my... oh, I see what's happening. So the white is the white of the background. That's right. So let's see. How are we going to figure this out? So the white is actually transparent. So what we need to do actually, instead of create a mask, is actually fill in black. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this layer mask, add a new layer, and all I got to do is paint in black. So if we look at this image on its own, you can see its transparencies there, and I forgot that. I thought it was white painted, and so that's what's happening there. So basically what I'm going to do is click here and then hold the shift key and voila, paint that out. I could leave that little bit there. In fact, let me undo that a little bit. What I might do is have some of it visible, because I don't need to get rid of all of it, but I think I am going to get rid of it from the middle up to about here. And then maybe what I'll do is, I'm not going to drop the opacity of this, but maybe I will taper it a little bit so it looks like, and I'm going to hold the shift key to kind of get a sharper edge there. Cool. That looks cool. So like it just appears into the darkness there. And that looks really good. I got New Orleans there. I like that. Now I can keep including additional text wherever I want in here, white in here, black out here, but this is overall looking really good. So that's basically how introduction on how to deal with type in Adobe Photoshop CC. I hope you enjoy this tutorial. Until next time, cheers.